Few foods have started a bigger argument than Hawaiian pizza. For more than 60 years, people have debated whether pineapple belongs on pizza. But that's not the real story, because the biggest surprise isn't who hates it, it's who created it, why they did it, and how one unexpected topping accidentally started a food war that's still raging today. Welcome to Hidden Food Histories. Today, we're digging into the surprising history of Hawaiian pizza and the truth behind one of the world's most controversial toppings. If you guessed Hawaii, you're not alone. But you'd also be completely wrong. To find the real birthplace of Hawaiian pizza, you have to travel nearly 5,000 miles away to the small town of Chatham, Ontario, Canada, in 1962. Now, this wasn't some trendy pizza shop with wood-fired ovens and artisanal toppings. It was the Satellite Restaurant, a family-run restaurant owned by Sam Panopoulos, a Greek immigrant who wasn't afraid to try something different. Like many restaurants at the time, the menu was all over the place. You could order burgers, sandwiches, Chinese food, and pizza, all under one roof. It might sound unusual today, but back then, that was completely normal. Restaurant owners were willing to experiment, and customers were happy to try something new. Pizza itself was still finding its identity in North America. Most pies were simple: pepperoni, mushrooms, bacon, onions, maybe green peppers if you were feeling adventurous. Nobody was asking for tropical toppings. Then one day, Sam noticed a can of pineapple sitting in the kitchen, and he had a simple idea. Why not put it on a pizza? No focus groups, no million-dollar marketing campaign, no master plan to start one of the biggest food arguments in history. Just curiosity. Believe it or not, the first customers who tried it actually enjoyed it. The sweet pineapple balanced surprisingly well with the salty ham and melted cheese, and before long, people were coming back to order it again. It's kind of amazing when you think about it. A decision that probably took less than a minute would end up sparking arguments that have lasted for more than 60 years. But if a Greek immigrant invented the pizza in a small Canadian restaurant, why on earth is it called Hawaiian? So, if the pizza was invented in a small Canadian restaurant by a Greek immigrant, why is it called Hawaiian? You might think the recipe came from Hawaii. Or maybe Sam learned it from a Hawaiian chef. Nope. The answer is much simpler, and honestly, a little funnier. When Sam reached for a can of pineapple, the label read Hawaiian brand. After his new pizza became a hit with customers, he borrowed the name straight from the can. That's it. No marketing team, no exotic backstory, just a pineapple label that accidentally confused the world for more than 60 years. But believe it or not, the name actually made perfect sense at the time. In the 1950s and early 1960s, North America was obsessed with anything tropical. Hawaii had just become the 50th US state in 1959, and suddenly Hawaiian culture was everywhere. Tiki restaurants were popping up across cities, backyard luau's became popular, and Hawaiian shirts turned into a fashion trend. If something had pineapple, palm trees, or the word Hawaiian on it, people wanted to try it. So when customers saw Hawaiian pizza on the menu, it sounded exciting. It promised a little taste of the tropics without ever leaving Canada. And here's the surprising part. Almost nobody complained. For years, Hawaiian pizza was simply another menu item. Some people ordered it, some people didn't. Nobody was launching passionate debates over a slice of pizza. That would come much later. And when it did, a simple topping turned into one of the biggest food arguments the world has ever seen. For the next several years, Hawaiian pizza quietly found its place on menus across Canada and eventually around the world. It wasn't considered strange. It wasn't considered controversial. It was just another pizza. But as pizza became more than just a meal, as it became a symbol of Italian tradition and culinary pride, people started drawing lines in the sand. To some, pineapple was the perfect balance of sweet and savory. After all, plenty of dishes mix fruit with meat. Think cranberry sauce with turkey or sweet and sour chicken. To others, putting pineapple on pizza felt almost disrespectful. They argued that pizza should stay true to its roots, and fruit had no business sitting on top of melted cheese. And that's when a simple topping turned into something much bigger. By the early days of the internet, the debate had taken on a life of its own. Message boards filled with arguments. Social media turned every pizza photo into a battlefield. Celebrity chefs jumped into the conversation, with some passionately defending Hawaiian pizza, while others insisted pineapple should never touch a slice. Even politicians couldn't resist joining the debate. In 2017, Iceland's president jokingly said he'd ban pineapple on pizza if he had the power. The comment spread around the world almost overnight, forcing him to clarify that, thankfully, presidents don't get to decide what's on your dinner plate. It's honestly incredible. One pizza that started as a simple kitchen experiment in a small Canadian restaurant had become a worldwide argument. And the funny part? Most of the people passionately debating it had never met the man who created it. While the rest of the world was busy arguing over pineapple, Sam Panopoulos had a much simpler opinion. With all the debates, angry comments, and endless internet arguments, you'd probably expect Sam Panopoulos to have a pretty strong opinion about Hawaiian pizza. Surprisingly, he didn't. To Sam, it was never about proving a point or changing the rules of pizza. He was simply a restaurant owner who enjoyed experimenting. In fact, that's how many great dishes are created. Someone gets curious, tries something different, and waits to see what happens. Sometimes it fails. Sometimes it becomes a bestseller. And every once in a while, it becomes history. For Sam, pineapple was just another experiment. He wanted to see what would happen if something sweet met something savory. The combination of salty ham, melted cheese, tangy tomato sauce, and juicy pineapple created a flavor that customers kept coming back for. That's when he knew he was onto something. What's almost unbelievable is that the man responsible for one of the world's most controversial pizzas didn't spend his life defending it. He once explained that if people enjoyed eating it, then that was enough for him. Honestly, that's a pretty refreshing attitude. While the rest of the world argued over whether pineapple belonged on pizza, Sam was focused on something much simpler: making food that people enjoyed. Maybe that's why this story has lasted so long. It was never created to be controversial. It became controversial because millions of people gave it a meaning that its creator never intended. And more than 60 years later, people are still taking sides in a debate that started with one curious chef and one ordinary can of pineapple. So why has this argument lasted for generations when countless other food trends have come and gone? So why has Hawaiian pizza remained one of the most controversial foods in the world? The answer isn't really about pineapple. It's about people. Food is deeply personal. It's tied to family traditions, childhood memories, and the way we think things are supposed to be. Tell someone their favorite sports team isn't the best, and you might start an argument. Tell someone how their grandmother should have made a recipe, and you've started a much bigger one. Pizza is no different. For some, it's a dish built on tradition. Every topping should honor the recipes that came before it. For others, pizza is a blank canvas. If barbecue chicken works, why not pineapple? If hot honey belongs on pizza, today, who's to say pineapple doesn't? That's what makes this story so fascinating. Hawaiian pizza became more than a meal. It became a symbol of a much bigger question. Should food stay the way it's always been, or is it meant to evolve? Maybe that's why this debate refuses to disappear. Every new generation discovers Hawaiian pizza, takes one bite, and immediately picks a side. Then they jump online, argue with complete strangers, and somehow convince themselves that this time they'll finally settle the debate. Spoiler alert, they won't. Because after more than 60 years, nobody has won this food war. And honestly, maybe that's the point. A curious restaurant owner in a small Canadian town wasn't trying to change the world. He was just willing to try something different. One can of pineapple, one homemade pizza, one simple question: why not? And more than 60 years later, we're still talking about it.